after me. I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm not a kid.
Hello, my people. This is the Gamertime podcast. My name is Matt, and this is my co-host Big Al. Say what's up, man.
What's up, everybody? It's Big Al here.
All right, this is episode number 1, the very first episode of the show. You can find all of our episodes on the Gamertime Shows YouTube channel, or you can follow us on Twitter at Gamertime Shows. This is the Gamertime Show podcast. All right, so first up, we have the headlines. We're going to start with the NBA. The biggest headline so far is the Buss family is pretty, they're complimentary, but yet they're not committal on whether or not Luke Walton is going to return to the Los Angeles Lakers next year. My personal thought on that is that I loved the hire a couple of years ago as a Lakers fan. I'm a diehard Lakers fan. I love the hire, but I think that he's made some questionable calls. I think that he definitely he had some issues last year with Julius Randle. I think that it takes a special kind of coach to coach LeBron James. I think that you got to really have your game down, and I think that Luke Walton is still learning as a coach. So I think that it might be time for him to hang it up as the Lakers coach. I would love to actually see him as an assistant coach. I think that if we brought in a more veteran coach to take over the reins, I think Luke thrives as an assistant coach. He did so in Golden State, and they won 70 games. So, you know, I think that he's a smart guy, but I think he's had a very rough year. What do you think, man?
Well, yeah, Luke is, the one special type of guy who, he can lead many different teams the way he wants to, and with, as you said, he just making questionable decisions with that. I think that it's better to find, a different route and, have a new perspective, especially when you got LeBron and different mix of players there. I think that there's, not saying he's not a bad coach, but just I think he would fit into a better system and bringing veteran coaching that more understands the game, I think can work better with this Lakers team, and I think it would be a fresh perspective.
Yeah, definitely. So moving on, there is, Giannis Antetokounmpo is clearly having one of the best seasons that we've seen in a long time. I mean, this guy it's so hard to kind of, classify him on the basketball court. Like he's, 6 foot, I think 10 or 11, but he's skinny yet strong. He's not like, your throwback power forward of Tim Duncan and Charles Barkley and guy low post kind of power forwards from back in the day. He's a lot more athletic than them. He's so quick running up and down the court. He's got handles, but yet he's putting up numbers that haven't been seen since like those throwback days of the big men. To be exact, it's actually hasn't been seen since Shaquille O'Neal did it. These numbers, like I believe Antetokounmpo is somewhere around 27 or 28 points a game, and he's rebounding at like 13 rebounds a game. It's insane. This stuff just hasn't happened in a long time from a skinnier guy like that. Shaquille O'Neal is actually on record saying that Giannis, who is 24 right now, is better than Shaq was when he was 24 years old. To me, that's insane. To me, Shaq is coming off of, at 24 years old, I believe he went to the NBA Finals and lost to the Rockets with the Magic. and then signed with the Lakers, I believe, when he was 24. So it was right at the end of the Orlando run, and I think that was prime Shaquille O'Neal. That was breaking down backboards, shattering glass, just dunking all over everybody. It was a fun time to watch Shaq, but to say that Giannis is better than him, that's amazing. I don't know. What do you think, man?
Well, they're obviously we're talking about two very talented NBA stars here. One from the past of Shaq and Giannis the present, and he I think Shaq is in a spot where he's saying he might be playing better than him, and I feel that way because number one, he's in a different position, and because mainly Shaq was the center, and he can just power his way through anybody. But Giannis, he can also grab rebounds, block shots, do that other little things that the centers can do. But he has that shooting range as well. That's why he can get those points and rebounds and just take it to the hole. And there's a good chance we'll see Giannis even put up even bigger stats in the future. So I think Shaq saying that he's better, he has a good point there because Giannis can do everything, and Shaq's just the big man down low.
Okay. So another quick tidbit: your Sixers are looking at signing Greg Monroe. What do you think?
I think that would be a good acquisition for us, and needing someone else who can shoot the ball and connect with the guys that we have on the team now. I think we really are building a championship caliber team, and adding someone like that is a good way to start, and putting him with younger guys can really boost this team up and play well against others.
Yeah, I actually like the move. He was a free agent a couple of years ago, and I actually wanted him in LA. I mean, he was coming. That was back in his Detroit days, but I actually liked. I think he plays a little bit of that throwback center that we mentioned earlier, but I think he's perfect coming off the bench for Embiid. He's a clear-cut 7-footer. I think he's big and strong, and he's still pretty athletic. I think it's a good move. So this just in, I didn't know this, but we've got our first declaration for the NBA draft. It is Murray State guard Ja Morant. He's projected top 3. I see him at number 2. What do you think? I don't see him falling past 2. I think he's clearly the next great point guard in the league.
Right, and I think you're right about that. He's definitely in the tops, and I think any team that's looking for that caliber player can. I think he would be well anywhere, but just sticking with these lower seeded teams, he would fit in pretty well, and maybe some teams would if he's that high up there. Maybe some teams will try to trade for him and give away some picks. But I think he's going to make anybody a better team.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to football. It is clearly the off season, and headlines are kind of dwindling at the moment. But I think that you obviously have the draft to look forward to coming up in a few weeks, I believe. But there's a couple of headlines here that Russell Wilson is actually looking for some big-time contract money here from the Seahawks, even to the point where he's telling the Seahawks that, hey, you got a deadline. I'm not going to sit here and wait. I don't want to, run through the mill and all these free agent teams and, have to even get that far. And I don't think the Seahawks want it to get that far either. Like, I think the Seahawks know how good Wilson is. Everybody knows how good Wilson is. and I think that they're not going to let him go. They'd be stupid to do so. So, I mean, do you agree with me, or do you think Wilson, is stupid for giving them a deadline, or what?
Well, I think Carroll's a pretty smart coach, and he knows those type of players. And when they won the Super Bowl a while ago, that was his star. That's who got him to the playoffs and got him over that edge. Was all started with Russell Wilson. So I think they do want to keep him. And despite the deadline, trade deadline, or the asking for a deadline for this, I don't think that will be a factor, and they will work out a deal as soon as possible, and they'll keep the guy who can keep making plays, and just because he could be a great fit somewhere, but I'm sure Carroll and himself want to stay in Seattle.
Yeah. So it's also coming out that Mike McCarthy is a little upset at how the Packers organization handled him being fired. Do you think he's a good coach? I mean, he obviously has a Super Bowl ring with one of the best quarterbacks of all time, but do you think that was more his quarterback, or do you think that he had a great game plan for years and years, and he should find another team? What's your input?
Well, I think just certain coaches have different styles of play, and I think that when they won the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback, that he can translate that, execute those plays pretty well. So I think that he is a good coach, and any team would honestly be lucky to have him. Just I don't think that I think he would be a better fit in a different spot, knowing that he's already got a Super Bowl, and Aaron Rodgers has given him that championship. I think he can help a different team and a different style of how he coaches, just up to the players to execute that.
Yeah. So, like I said, this is our very first podcast, and I want to kind of lay some, not ground rules, but I like to put this out there that I'm not a huge fan of, talking about stories that are kind of off the field, like stupid stuff. Like, for instance, one of these stories is Robert Kraft's attorneys allege it was an illegal search by the police. Do you have any interest in talking about that? I mean, I don't. This stuff is kind of stupid to me. Like, some old man kind of, tried to get some and obviously got caught, and that's about it to me. What do you think?
Right. That just stuff is just irrelevant and really just disrespectful to the league, and just no one really wants to follow that at this point. And by the way, I heard about your Yankees, and you're telling me that your lineup is better than the Philadelphia Phillies lineup? Are you kidding me?
Well, come on. I mean, look, we've got a couple of games under our belt to judge that, and clearly the Phillies are hot right now, and the Yankees are slumping, but you can't overlook the power that is in that lineup, from Stanton and Judge to Didi Gregorius, and just all the way down to the bottom. You've got home run hitters all over the place with Voit. I see one, maybe two decent home run hitters on the Phillies. Yankees are stacked. You can't even contend with that.
Decent? Are you kidding? Decent? Well, just first of all, point number one, your Stanton is on the disabled list, so count that out as power. And it's just the Phillies got power down that lineup. You're telling me that there's only two power hitters right there. Miguel Franco hit a home run the first game. Royce Hopkins did. Bryce Harper is heating up. You got Andrew McCutchen leading off with a home run. You got the best catcher in the league, JT So, I don't see your argument here.
Oh,
Please tell me the average.
You are insane. You need to take a chill pill. You need medicated, my friend. You need medicated.
Okay.
To tell me
Okay.
that Judge is not going to be MVP, anything else that you tell me is you're out of your mind. Like this, you're looking at the 2019 AL MVP. That is set it in stone right now.
Okay. You know what? If you're so hot on your team, especially with teams that guys that are already on the disabled list, how about I bet you a case of do right now? I bet you that this lineup of the Philadelphia Phillies, who are in first place, by the way, and just barely lost today, but that's another story for another time. Their average of power hitters is gonna clear away yours at the end of the season. I guarantee you.
Oh man.
Bet a case of do.
All right, case of do. What are we talking here? We're gonna pick total home runs by the team, or how are we measuring this?
Just by, I'll give you a Judge. I'll give you Judge Stanton when he ever gets back, and one other guy compared to Harper, McCutchen, and Hopkins. Give me those three averages. Average their batting average at the end of the year, and we'll see who does better.
The batting average?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'll take Judge, Stanton, and I think Didi's out for the year now, but I'm gonna go with Voit. I think that he's another big hitter. I'll take those three.
Okay, that's a fair deal.
All right. A case of do.
Case of do.
Case of do. Where did you come up with that one? Where's that case of do from?
Just my good pal over at with Shannon Sharp's Mr. Bayless.
Oh, look at you with the name drop, Mr. Skip Bayless. All right, so we've got a few more minutes here. I wanted to talk about, this is a little bit of a video game podcast as well. Just a little rundown. What are you playing right now? What are you really into?
Well, right now, just the other day I got in the mail I ordered a WWE or WWF at that time Attitude for Dreamcast.
Whoa.
And it is like it always was when I played it on the other systems. It's great, and you get back to that Attitude era. Nowadays, it's still fun to watch, but I think the back then with Stone Cold and all them guys, it's a lot of fun having the Attitude Era in there. And I'm also playing MLB The Show on PlayStation 4, and I just created a guy myself, and I got drafted by the Red Sox, so I'm starting out in the minors, and we'll see how I progress through the league, and it's pretty fun.
Nice. So you got to tell me, like the WWE, is that? I mean, you got the Stone Colds, you got the Rocks, you got the Undertakers. Like, who's your go-to guy?
Kane, Triple H. I even brought the New Age Outlaws in there.
Oh, nice.
X-Pac, Road Dogg, Billy Gunn. There's some really big names that you can play around with, and it just we love the Attitude Era, and
oh yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
That's what we grew up on, man. You hit them with the Stone Cold Stunner when they're not looking. It's devastating. It's you throw the arm up under there, hit them with the rock bottom. It takes me back. Takes me back. But that the show on PS4, that's a brand new game. So like, I'm hearing nothing but good things so far. They say that, I just heard this today, they say that the community around this game is, if you are a diehard show fan and you spend your time, you work out, you get your gameplay down correctly, that this is one of the best games. It'll keep you playing all summer. So, like, is that how you feel? I mean, are you Are you a diehard show fan, or is it kind of like once every while you'll check in on it, or what?
I definitely will keep playing, and I agree with everyone's opinions out there that it is one of the top games so far, and they just have so many different new game modes, and you can even play with legendary players. I did one season with a whole roster full of legends, and to see how I do, and that should be a lot of home runs in that one. So they have retro mode where you can play like it's like classic Nintendo. It's really fun, and
wow.
It's definitely between my franchise and being road to the show, it'll keep me playing for a while.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't gotten it yet, but I really have that baseball itch right now. So I think I might snatch it soon. But you know, it's a beautiful time of year. You know, when springtime hits, it's like, and baseball starts up, you can't help but catch that baseball fever. But anyway, so we've got the. I wanted to go back a little bit because we had mentioned that the NFL draft is right around the corner.
Correct.
And so the Cowboys, from what I hear, do not have a first-round pick. Is that correct?
That is right. They traded that for Amari Cooper.
Ah, that's right. Okay. And it seems a little bit worth it, given what he did this year. He had a great second half of the season. So let everybody know, you, sir, are a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. You've been following the team ever since I've known you for the last 20 years, and it's been bleed blue and silver. Is that correct?
That is right, and just it's unfortunate that us being called America's team, we're not technically living up to that hype right now of winning playoff games and getting back to the Super Bowl like they used to in the 90s. So it's pretty frustrating, especially at Jerry Jones and how he's running things, and I believe that's a lot to do with our failure, and I think we need to get something new in there. And as far as the draft, just stack up on defense and get a couple more pieces behind Zeke Elliott, and I think we have another chance like we did last year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I like what you're bringing back to the field next season, especially given you were right there in the mix with, the best of the best. So I think that you're only going to get better. Everybody who's, important on that team is still pretty young. So I think that, sky's the limit at this point, So me, myself...
Right, I heard you're a Broncos fan, and I just want to know, going through quarterback after quarterback for years and years after Elway, what's your strategy there? Are you focused this year more on another franchise quarterback, or is it more so let's build on the defense and you already got Chubb? So what's the draft strategy for this year?
It's rough, man. It's back a couple years ago when John Elway joined the Denver Broncos front office, I was all for it. I thought, he's a former quarterback. He can mold whatever he wants to mold. He's smart. He'll figure it out. And honestly, other than using his name to sign Peyton Manning, other than that, he's done nothing. Like, you can credit him for taking Von Miller at the number 2 pick, but I don't, that wasn't a very hard decision to make. Like, Von Miller came into the draft like a complete stud. So, and he is. But as far as this season goes, we have the number 10 pick, and it's hard for me to kind of strategize on, when to take what position. Like, you want to, if you're looking for that franchise quarterback, you're going to take him with your first pick, obviously. You may need even to trade up within the top 5. There's a couple of quarterbacks that are around the 10 pick, but I'm just not sure whether or not they're the next big guy, the next franchise quarterback for the Denver Broncos. But there are a few, well, more than a few defensive studs. I mean, complete studs in this year's draft in the first round. And,
Devin White, linebacker, is one of them.
Yep. Oh yeah, he's extremely good. Just the lateral quickness, from what I'm hearing, is insane, and that's kind of what you look for in a linebacker nowadays, just to just be able to run all over the field. But the Denver Broncos do need help at cornerback, and there's a stud corner, Greedy Williams from LSU, that I really like to fill that void. But so I like Devin White, I like Greedy Williams. I think that Ed Oliver, the defensive tackle from Houston, I think he'll fall to somewhere around there. It's a decent pickup, but we'll see what kind of impact he can have on the defensive line. He had a
right. I mean, he can probably rush the passer and cause problems up the middle for running backs.
Oh yeah, definitely. If that's the case, if we do something like that, then that pass rush is going to be unstoppable. Bradley Chubb, Von Miller, and Ed Oliver, it's going to be insane. But so I think it's never a bad decision this year to pick a defensive stud, because there's going to be some available at the number 10 pick. But I think that your franchise quarterbacks probably aren't going to be available at 10. I think there's two of them. I think there's who's the Kyler Murray, expected to go number 1 out of Oklahoma. Who's the Ohio State guy?
Dwayne Haskins.
Yes, Dwayne Haskins. He's expected to go to the Giants at number 6 or 7.
Actually, from a recent report I read, that the Giants may not be interested now.
Yeah, I've heard so many different stories. It's all over the place, to be honest. There's, Kyler Murray is very different from Haskins, and also very different from Drew Lock, who is supposed to be the 3rd best quarterback in the draft. It all depends on what type of quarterback you're going for. What kind of quarterback do you want to build around? So I think that John Elway, of course, is the pocket passing, tall, 6'4" plus, kind of, that's who he favors. So I think that the only person that kind of fits under that category, who I think will be available, is Drew Lock. And, a lot of people like him, a lot of people don't like him. He's kind of up in the air. But from what I'm hearing, John Elway loves him. So, to sum it all up, I think we're either looking at, Devin White, if he's available, Greedy Williams, like I said, or probably Drew Lock. So, I'm okay with either one, but if it's Drew Lock, I'm really going to be watching. I'm really going to be paying attention. He better pan out, or else, to be honest, Elway might get canned in the future. I mean, it'll be like his 3rd or 4th quarterback that he's failed on. You know what I mean? So.
Right, and I watched some of the combine, and he, from what I see, a lot of the coaches, a lot of them were most impressed with Locke, so that would be a great pickup.
Yeah, definitely. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. This is our first podcast. We're going to do a couple, together recordings, and we may have to resort back to some of these phone calls, but I appreciate you hopping on last second like this. It's been a lot of fun, and I hope we can continue some great talks here.
Yes, we will, and I appreciate you giving me a chance to do this together, and we look forward to more in the future, and just don't forget to have your wallet out when you hand me that due at the end of the year.
All right, we'll see about that. All right, man, say bye to the people.
Have a good one, folks. Thanks for listening. Just keep at us and tell everyone about it. We're excited, and it's going to be a fun show.
Yes, sir. All right, this is Gamertime Podcast. Please, 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 please look for future episodes, and rate us, like us, subscribe, whatever it is. We're here for you. We're going to be pumping out episodes, and we appreciate any feedback. All right, people. See you later.
Second game, we got our ass kicked. Or the second half, we just got our ass totally kicked. We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. We couldn't make a first down.